Hey guys, it's Dr. Wright. I have recorded this video 4 times, and for some reason it's not working on Canvas, so I'm going to try it in my video production on my computer and try to attach it and see if that'll work, and I have no idea. Anyway, so I have a lot of questions from you guys about research and designing research studies today, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that with you. So as you're working on your Unit 2 discussion board, you're probably thinking to yourself, like, I've never designed a study, how do I do this? And that's a totally normal response, and I totally get it. First things first, let's keep it simple. Let's study 2 variables, and that's all we're doing. Don't try to solve the world's problems, world peace, hunger, don't worry about that. Focus on 2 personality variables, and let's just get this over with, all right? So you want to, a lot of times what will happen is we'll start with a research question of, does this happen or does that happen? And then from that research question, we'll turn it into a testable prediction statement, which is a hypothesis. So the example I've been using for the past couple of videos that you guys haven't seen because they won't save is the research question of, do introverts post fewer individual selfies on social media than extroverts do? Okay, that's a research question. The next thing you want to do is create your hypothesis from your research question, so testable prediction statement. So I would predict, obviously, that introverts will post fewer individual selfies than extroverts will in a week's time span on social media. So that's my hypothesis. So the next question becomes, okay, how do I test this? How do I find data to support or refute my hypothesis? So we want to find a questionnaire that will allow us to assess whether our participant is more extroverted or more introverted. The easiest one to use is the Big 5 Factors Personality Questionnaire, which is the most used research questionnaire right now. And you can actually find that online. So what you want to do is find what you want to study and try to find a survey that you can use that's online. So easiest way to do that, you want to study authoritarian personality trait, go into Google, type in authoritarianism questionnaire, and then you'll come up with some questionnaires, and you'll hopefully find one that's been validated and redone and has been found to be accurate. And you can use that, and you can reference it in your post, and you can say, I'm going to use this questionnaire, and then reference where you found it, and then you can include some of the questions to show us what the questions are like. So once you've done that, then you can tell us about what's the next part. So I'm going to be observing people's social media accounts from Sunday at 12:01 a.m. all the way through Saturday at 11:59 p.m. and I'm going to be observing Facebook. Okay, and I can set parameters. I'm only going to be looking at individual selfies that the person posted themselves, not photos that they're tagged in by other people, and that's just because that's all I want to study. So again, it's easier to make it very specific as opposed to opening it up to this huge broad thing. You don't want to tell people that you're going to be doing a longitudinal study, which means you're going to be studying people for years. Like, it's just, let's keep it simple, let's keep it small for this first study, right? So once we have gathered our data, so whether the person is an introvert or an extrovert and how many selfies they posted in a week time, then we're going to compare the averages for the 2 groups. So we're going to compare the average number of selfies posted for extroverts, average number of selfies posted for introverts, and we're going to see if there is a statistical difference between the 2. All right. So, and then you can tell us what you expect. So I expect that in the data, extroverts will post a higher average number of selfies than introverts will in this week time. So again, make sure you're not recreating the wheel. Don't try to make up your own questionnaires or anything like that. Go and find things that have already been created and reference them and tell us about them in your post rather than, like I said, redesigning something that's already been created. Also, make sure that your study is about personality. And I know that sounds funny because I'm talking about a personality class, but there's a lot of times each semester students post studies that aren't related to personality, or they're slightly related to personality, but they haven't really demonstrated for us, like, bam, personality, there it is. So if I tell you I'm studying the personality trait of extroversion and number of selfies posted, then obviously it's about personality. Does that make sense? So if you have any questions about this or about designing research studies in general, please feel free to send me a message and we can talk about it. Thanks.